for his role in basically developing, changing physiotherapy for Burnley and the wider area. So I would like to introduce you to the one, the only, Mr. Philip Barton.
Physiotherapy had started at St Thomas's Hospital in London. I started in Leeds in 1951. The discipline was literally harsh. Fortunately, Miss Hollis, the principal at Bradford, and when I asked if I could change to Bradford, she said, yes, certainly you can. So I did, and I qualified. So I was able to say I was a physiotherapist and hydrotherapist as well. I was at every school careers evening you could possibly get to try and encourage people to go and train. My move to Burnley, I had no idea where Burnley was. I'd seen the advertisement in the March Journal for the superintendent physiotherapist for the Victoria Hospital, Burnley. I immediately got a feeling, this is for me.
We are here in Burnley, where it is known for its rich football and industrial heritage, as well as its hard-working community. However, physiotherapy does not get the recognition it deserves, with the advancements made from the 20th century to modern times have been overlooked. Physiotherapy had started in 1894 between four nurses who formed a chartered society, and in its inception it was an all-female vocation. But we've come to Lancashire to sit down with Philip Barton, who is willing to share a fantastic story of his life and how he's got into the occupation throughout the 20th century.
I am the third son of a vicar, and I was born in Hull, and I attended Queen Elizabeth's Grammar School, Wakefield, for the whole of my education. By the age of 16, I hadn't really decided what I wanted to be, but fortunately, the careers master's wife was the careers mistress at the high school, and she found that the Leeds School of Physiotherapy were taking men for the first time in 1949. And after the war, they set up the profession of remedial gymnast. But I wanted to be a physiotherapist, which included electrotherapy treatments. I started in Leeds School of Physiotherapy. We were an unusual set of that year because there were 8 men and 4 girls in our set. The intake was twice a year, so one set was all girls and the other set was mixed. The principal was Miss Ebner. The discipline was literally harsh, and unfortunately she took a dislike to me. But fortunately her deputy took a liking to me, and she taught the electrotherapy. But in the end I fell out completely. with Miss Ebner, and I had to leave. That was partly due to the fact that at a weekend away with the students from Newcastle, Bradford and Leeds at Cober Hill near Scarborough, we did a cabaret in the evening, and one of my marionettes rather took the mickey out of Miss Ebner. I could tell by her face that I could see from the stage that I'd really put my foot in it. Fortunately, Miss Hollis, the principal at Bradford, had loved the marionettes. And when I asked if I could change to Bradford, she said, yes, certainly you can. But we're having a garden party on Saturday. The condition is you bring your marionettes for the garden party. So I did. And I qualified from Bradford. So I was able to say I was a physiotherapist and hydrotherapist as well. I mainly worked in Harrogate with the orthopaedic consultant. So I was involved with the joint reconstruction and surgery that was being done at that time with the arthritic patients. It was a marvellous place because the whole building and all the staff were involved with physiotherapy treatment and hydrotherapy treatment. In Harrogate, there were mud baths and peat baths, and the peat baths were fascinating. I worked in the gymnasium, and I remember the boss, Miss Savage, had been asking, I go into the foot class, I don't know who's taking it, but it's that man with India rubber feet. That was me. I was taking the foot class at that time. My move to Burnley, I had no idea where Burnley was, although we were living in Huddersfield at that time. I'd seen the advertisement in the March Journal, 1961 it was, for the superintendent physiotherapist for the Victoria Hospital, Burnley. I immediately got a feeling this is for me. So when I got home, I put in an application and was called for an interview, and it was absolutely lovely. It was a lovely, friendly little hospital, you could tell that. But at the interview, it was the whole committee sitting round me, and I was the one they called back in. So I started work at the Victoria Hospital. I think the salary was £600 a year for a superintendent in charge of 7 people in those days. But as I say, the orthopaedic consultants were absolutely superb, encouraged me, and if I came up with an idea, it was usually accepted. And it wasn't until 1977 that I got my new department at Burnley General Hospital, which was one of the most modern, up-to-date and best equipped departments in the north of England. As I said, we developed over the years, and I was at every school careers evening you could possibly get, carrying this huge board with photographs of the Bradford Hospital School of Physiotherapy with me to try and encourage people to go and train, because it was pretty obvious unless we got local people training, we wouldn't attract people to come to Burnley to work in the department. One girl called Jennifer Sagar went to Bradford, trained, and came back to work for me in the early days at the Victoria Hospital. And the Chartered Society had an award called the Manley Memorial Prize. The Manley Memorial Prize was given to the student who had gained the most marks in all the exams during training. And Jenny had won the Manley Memorial Prize. So I managed to persuade the hospital management committee to pay for her to go to the annual conference of the CSP in London and receive the prize. But this time I went with Jenny, and we were in the foyer of the town hall. And then she called out, "And who's won the Manley Memorial Prize?" And Jenny said, "I have." And she came over and she said, "Oh, what's your name?" "Jennifer Sager." "Oh, and where do you come from?" And she said, "Padiham." "Oh, where's Padiham?" "Near Burnley." The good lady said, "Oh, how nice that the prize has gone to the provinces for a change." It was usually St Thomas's, Royal Free, all the other London hospitals that won the Memorial Prize, but Burnley had won it that year. In the health service, things were happening quite rapidly at that time in 1974, and Burnley became a district health authority, taking in Rosendale as well. My job had grown and grown. I'd taken over physiotherapy at the General Hospital quite early in my career here. Then the superintendent at Readiford Hospital in Nelson had died, and so I took over Nelson as well, and also the Hartley Hospital at Cone. So in 1974, I got Rosendale General as well. So I was then made a district physiotherapist. There were 5 other districts in Lancashire: Lancaster, Preston, Blackpool, Blackburn, Burnley and Ormskirk. And each one had a district physiotherapist appointed. And then one of the district physiotherapists was going to be appointed as the area advisor to the area health authority for Lancashire. And well, to cut the story short, I got that as well. But we were trying to put Lancashire on the map. At that time, it was before the new Royal Preston Hospital had been built. And the only full-time physiotherapist there was the superintendent physiotherapist. She had to rely on part-timers. We didn't take students from the training schools. And we worked well together with all the district physiotherapists. And we soon were getting placements of students. And when the students came to Burnley, Preston, Blackpool, they came back again to work there when they qualified. And that's when it really began to take shape of the fantastic physiotherapist that's there today. I really knew very, very little about physiotherapy when I enrolled at the School of Physiotherapy in Leeds. I'd spent about 5 minutes looking around the department, and I chose the career that was for me because it was using my hands. And the thing about physiotherapy is that you are in such close association with your patient and the relative. The doctor doesn't see them as much as we were seeing them. The occupational therapists were few and far between in Burnley in those days. But it was the physiotherapist that really got to know the patient, and the patient got to know the physiotherapist. You almost became their friend, their counsellor, their professional point of contact. And I look back at my career, 40 years of it in physiotherapy, and I'm glad I didn't do anything else.